What's up, y'all? We're back. It's Johnny with Bros with Beers. Interesting things going on in the world right now. Mrs. Toni Storm is back. Okay, now say what you want to about her departure, everything like that from AEW wrestling. The character that she was in, like this debutante, Belle of the Ball. This character move that AEW put her through. I mean, it was hot for just a little bit, but really, it just never caught. It never took over. You know what I mean? Like, as fans are concerned, from everything that I'm seeing and how I felt too, like, it just wasn't inducive into her character. The reason why we all liked her when she came over from NXT. So, but I'm happy with the changeover that they brought her original character back. I love the eye black under the eye, the whole thing. Because she's got all the talents to carry the belt and carry it well. Athletically, she's not Charlotte Flair, but who is? But athletically, she's just as good as Becky Lynch. She's just as good as Mercedes Moné. She can carry a match with anybody, and she's, she's got the selling power to really hold it out. Now, do I think she's a main eventer? I mean, do I think that she's going to carry your billboards and carry your merchandise sales and everything like that? I don't know. But she can put on a heck of a match. She's good. Now, the problem with AEW, because I'm a big Chris Statlander fan, I think Statlander's outstanding. But she's not polished enough to be on the mic yet. But the good thing about Toni Storm is she can cut a decent promo. You know what I mean? Like, she's not bad at all. I think she's good, which, I mean, a lot of her developmental stuff came from, obviously her time with the WWE and the Performance Center and NXT and all that. But I don't know. I think AEW kind of squandered a little bit of her time. I really do, because it's you all know as well as I do, you're going to ride that rocket, if you're lucky in the wrestling business, one time, maybe twice. Another name comes to mind that WWE completely tricked their hand off is Dolph Ziggler. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how or why, because let me tell you something. You can put Dolph in a match with anybody in the world right now, okay? In the world. You can put him in a match with anybody in the world, and he can wrestle for 25 minutes. And it's going to be an outstanding match. He could do that. I mean, I believe in his ability to carry a match better than I do MJF. And I like MJF like crazy. You know what I mean? I dig everything he's doing. But I'm talking about from pure wrestling, just wrestling talent. Man, Ziggler's got him beat all day. And to me, Toni Storm she's the Dolph Ziggler of the women's whole wrestling era right now. She's good enough to be main card attraction. But there's something that's holding her back. Or I don't know if it's backstage. I don't know if it's production. I don't know if it's in the writing. I don't know if it's she's not making the right friends or she's made the wrong enemies. I don't know. Because obviously none of us are back there, backstage, or, I don't hear any rumblings that she's not liked or that she's, because I'm sure wrestling is just like anything else in life. Any job or anything that we all worked at, it's like a middle school. You know what I mean? Like, it's, y'all know how people talk and go behind each other's backs and all this stuff. So, but she's got the talent. She's 100% got the talent. I would say before CM Punk left, like, if you could bring back an AJ Lee or something like that and really give that AEW women's division a kick, you know what I mean, that would be really good. But as far as the talent level, they just don't, in the women's division, they just don't have it as far as the talent level. Now, would I rather watch the AEW women's division than I would the females in the WWE? Yes, with the exception of Rhea Ripley. Absolutely. Because Rhea Ripley can do no wrong, okay? Listen, Rhea Ripley is to female women's wrestling what Michael Jordan was to basketball. Listen, I would walk through a gymnasium full of broken light bulbs, barefooted, just to hear her fart in a Solo cup. You know what I'm saying? Like a little tape. I would. Rhea Ripley's, she's a house biscuit. You know what I mean? She's everything to that WWE women's division. I don't know what Charlotte's been doing out there getting surgerized on her nose again. I reckon, I don't know. But I mean, yes, we all know Charlotte Flair can do a gainer. We get it. You know what I mean? She can come off the ropes. She can fly. But she's so long-legged and peakish, like a long bird. Like if you catch a knee or an elbow to the eye or something like that, she's gonna end up hurting somebody. It's gonna look like what's the two from AEW? The dude that had the injury and the gentleman from Mexico. Gosh, what's his name? Ray Penix and what's the dude's name? I can't think of it right now. But y'all remember the match like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, where he tries to do the swanton out of the ring, and then I think his elbow, I think it was his Hardy's actually, his elbow like comes out of joint or whatever. But I'm always fearful when Charlotte's wrestling. That's what I feel like something like that's going to happen. Because I don't know, I feel like she's too limmy. You know what I mean? Like maybe she's too tall or too long. I'm not sure. But I'm not saying that she don't have good matches, because she does. She 100% does. It's just to me, Toni Storm, if you can market her right, and if you can get the push, I believe that she can stand toe to toe with anybody. But it's just my personal feeling that she don't have the staying power that someone like a Charlotte or a Rhea or you know what I mean, somebody like that does. And honestly, I feel like that women's division in AEW is wide open, because there's so many people that there's nobody standing, head and shoulders above anybody else over there, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, you got Mercedes Moné, which, I mean, we all know the story. We all get it. We know where she came from, yada, yada, yada. We know the drama. We know what she's worth. And she got her bag. She got her money. So she, you know what I mean? She went ahead and cuffed that, put it in the bank, and that's all well and good. Now it's time to deliver on the product. She's good. She's outstanding. You know what I mean? When she was with Trinity in WWE back in the day, we all knew that Trinity was the anchor. You know what I mean? That she was slowing her down. Now, once she started wrestling in singles, you know what I mean? She was Bianca Belair before Bianca Belair was around. Period. You know what I mean? But I mean, she really set the precedent for, I mean, especially the WrestleMania event, coming out with Snoop Dogg. Like that. I mean, come on now, that's huge. You came out at WrestleMania and you got Snoop Dogg doing your song. Like you're doing something. And for the WWE leadership to believe in her like that and to place that, that trust in her to deliver, you know what I mean? Which they did. It was a heck of a card. Speaks volumes. But as we all know, you know what I mean? There's no Stone Cold without a Rock. You know what I'm saying? She's got to have somebody to be able to bounce these ideas off of and be able to, you got to have a protagonist and an antagonist. But I don't see anybody like that for her in AEW. I really don't. I mean, Soraya, maybe, you know what I mean? But I don't know what her and Ronnie Radke are doing, running all over Hell's Half Acre every day. And I don't even know if she takes the business as serious as she once did when she was really trying to make it. Because when Paige was coming in WWE, man, she set the world on fire. Which a lot of that was, suggestive marketing. It was smart by WWE to do that. But, I mean, she lit it up. I mean, you remember. Like, when Paige came out, listen, she was, son, get hot, skillet. Like she was working at Cracker Barrel. That thing was iron hot, son. She came out and she was on the tip of everybody's tongue because she was good and she was wrestling with fire. And like, dude, you couldn't stop her. You couldn't contain her. And then all that stuff happened with you know what, and then Alberto Del Rio and daggone the New Day and anything else that may or may not have occurred that got out. And then Hulk Hogan comes to her raid and her rescue, and like he's somebody's yes man, like he's got like a reputation above reproach. Do you, Hulkster? Oh, brother. You got your own skeletons in your closet too, Hulkamaniac. But Paige, man, when she came out and she was just so on it. She was wrestling, dude. When she came out, you knew that she was living and breathing and dying that wrestling. You know what I mean? And then, complacency sets in, and it does with all athletes. You see it with all top athletes. Conor McGregor, I don't want to say The Rock because he's not necessarily wrestling all the time, but anytime, well, I'll put it to you like this. You remember the movie Rocky? The trainer in Rocky, Mick? He said, you did the worst thing a fighter could ever do. You went and got yourself civilized. So when you're in the fight game or any type of game that requires athleticism and peak performance from your body or anything like that, you have got to interlace your day with a myriad of physical activities and training and doing it all day. Like when I fought professionally, dude, I lived in it. I lived in our gym for a year on an army cot underneath our boxing ring. I fought MMA professionally. I lived on a cot. But this is the thing. I was 22 years old and big, young, and dumb, and I was bouncing at night, and I'd go in. I'd train every day with the University of Kentucky intramural boxing team every morning at 6 a.m. and get waxed every day. But it made me better. You know what I mean? And I did that for a year until I got to the point where I could hold my own with just the boxing team. Or I'd go to wrestle with Woodford County High School, the wrestling team. You know what I mean? And work takedowns or single legs or whatever, ankle picks, yeah. I was constantly trying to build myself every day because I was hungry, because I hadn't made it yet. And then I got out to Vegas at Randy's gym and you know, after the Extreme Couture with Junie and Sean Tompkins and Mark Coleman was there, daggone Amir Sadala, Forrest Griffin, Phil Baroni was there when I was there. Randy's there. This is right before his fight with Brock Lesnar. Mike Whitehead, Vasily Overeem came in a couple of times. This is Alistair's brother. But like, dude, I was hungry then. You know what I mean? That's because I didn't have any accomplishments. I was still trying to make it. You know what I mean? And taking meetings with Joe Silva, who was the promoter of UFC at the time, as an alternate on the Ultimate Fighter show. And that made me feel bad. I'm praying to death somebody gets hurt just so I can get on the show. Because he's like, as soon as somebody drops out at 205, you're in. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I just knew somebody was going to get hurt. It never happened. But I was hungry then. I was training hard just chasing the possibility of what might have been. You know what I mean? But, you know, it didn't happen for this reason or that reason. And, you know, thank God I have a beautiful family and I'm in love with a woman that I care about. And, you know, my life worked out. But what I'm saying is like, when I was young and hungry, I was dangerous. You know what I mean? When these athletes are young and hungry, they're dangerous. So when a guy like Conor McGregor, who we see it now, he can't even make a camp. He can't even make a camp because he can't go through the USDA. You can't go 8 weeks without failing a test, brother. You know what I mean? Which he doesn't have to. He made $150 million off selling the whiskey brand, whatever it's called. And then you know as well as I do, his training camps are not going to be the same now have an estimated net worth of $300 million as they were when he had $18,000. He's not working as hard. It's just a fact of life. And when you're in a physical industry, in a physical business, and your success is predicated on the amount of sweat equity that you put into something, of how hard you work into it, let me tell you something. When you got that money and you got a whole lot of it, you're not working the same. It's just a fact of life. You're not working the same. Okay? We see constantly professional athletes reach this pinnacle and taper off. The big Mexican boxer, Ruiz, is that his name? The dude that knocked out Deontay Wilder. Listen, bro, he knocked Deontay Wilder out, or who was it? Deontay Wilder or somebody. I can't remember who he beat to get the title, but he knocked dude out. Okay, and he sent a shockwave in the combat community around the world because nobody thought he was going to win. Like I think he was like plus 1,500 underdog. Like it was ridiculous the odds. You know what I mean? Not to mention he got dropped 2 times I think in that fight before he knocked dude out. And then he comes back and then he shocks the world. And then you see him. He gets the belt and he don't have a whole lot of money yet. But he gets the belt, shocks the world, gets a little bit of money, and then he trains real hard, real hard, just like he did when he got the belt. And then he defended it once and did well. And then he gets big money, okay? And then you know what happens? People get lazy. People's feet start moving slow. That alarm don't go off at 4:45 in the morning no more. It start going off at whenever I feel like getting up. That's when it goes off, you know what I mean? Now we're eating steak and potatoes in the bed at 11:45 at night, giggling, watching Squidbillies. You know what I mean? That's what the money does. That's what happens when you get the money. You know what I mean? I've been there and I ain't even got no money. I had just a tiny bit of success. I got lucky because my buddy was on the Ultimate Fighter show, Junie Browning, the lunatic, Junie Allen Browning. I got lucky because he went to Vegas and I rode his coattails out there. Now, I worked hard when I was there and gained success and won 2 professional fights out there. And after, you know, a 12-fight amateur career, But I got lucky because somebody was in a position that they were doing so well that there was still enough on the mountain left for me. I was picking up crumbs. Like I was standing next to him when he was signing autographs at the first UFC Expo after UFC 100. When this is the table, you got Brock Lesnar, Matt Hughes, Sean Shirk, who had the 155 pound belt at the time, and then GSP was supposed to be there, but he arrived late. And then you got my buddy Junie sitting there, who was a contestant on the Ultimate Fighter show, which had the highest ratings ever, other than the season that had Kimbo Slice on it, obviously because Kimbo Slice was Kimbo Slice and everybody lost their minds over him. But what I'm saying is Junie was so hot at the time that he was sitting at a table with championship fighters and he hadn't fought in the UFC yet. Think about that. He's sharing a table with Brock Lesnar because his media influence was so great, because he was such a character on the show, that they put him at the same table with Brock Lesnar, who had a belt around his waist. And Junie hadn't even fought in the UFC officially yet. He fought exhibition fights on the reality show. But because he was hungry and because he was such a character, that got him there, because he had nothing. When I was a server at Applebee's, he'd come up there for unlimited soup and sandwiches, and he would eat one meal a day. Now, he would rake on the shrimp salads and French onion soups and all that stuff, and I would take on. Bro, we slept on the floor and the carpet in an apartment that we shared the rent on. Didn't even have a couch in it. We slept on the carpet to get up every day and go train jujitsu in the grapple box every single day. Our rash guards smelling like sweat. Couldn't even wash them. Was lucky outside when it rained. It rained on them just to clean our stuff out. But that's how we got good. That's what it takes to get proficient in world-class level at anything in life. You got to eat, breathe, sleep it. You got to think about it when you're taking a dump. You got to picture it when you're driving. I mean, I would be shadow boxing, standing in line waiting at Walmart. You know what I mean? I'm just standing there, just thinking about rolling punches, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I look like an insane person. But that's what it takes to get to avoid mediocrity and to get to the top of the mountain. And if you're not willing to put that in anymore because you got all this money, you're not going to be the same athlete that you were. It's not going to happen. And it's unfortunate because some of the best athletes that we've ever seen and some of the greatest combat, fighters or wrestlers or anything like that, they reach this touch of fame and then they completely, we all have skeletons in our closet, but for whatever reason, they let the past come back, or they get involved in this or that or substances or whatever, but they don't seek the necessary help, to get back on the right track. And we see it cripple careers all the time. God, look at the career of Jake the Snake Roberts. You want to talk about a roller coaster. This man had everything. Jake the Snake Roberts had everything. Wrestling in front of 80-something thousand people. You know what I mean? He was at the top of the mountain. He had a gimmick nobody had ever in their life thought of. The man came to the ring with a giant pillowcase with a python in it. When I was 4 or 5 years old, running around the house with a pair of saggy shorts on and no shirt, like a yard ape, I was bouncing off the walls. You know what I mean? And Jake the Snake come out, I was losing my ever-loving mind, son. I was doing backflips off the daggone bookshelf. And my papa was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." But it's because Jake the Snake came out and he was that popular. But in his personal life, he was battling with, we all know what, you know what I mean? And struggling so hard to the point where it ran him down and out so bad that he was wrestling in National Guard armories in front of 45 people, and the promoters couldn't even pay him in cash. They had to pay him in product. And we all know what type of product I'm talking about. It rhymes with the word rack. Okay? That's where that'll take you. That's where that success will take you. That's where that, as Mick said in Rocky, like I said, you done went and got yourself civilized. That's where that civility takes you. If you're in a combat sports game or any type of profession that requires you to be physically at your peak, if you don't have an extreme amount of discipline, you are going to fall off when the success comes. If you don't have you squared away mentally before all this happens, you're done. You are done. You know what I mean? You got to, and I'm just talking about people like they're mindless, soulless creatures. They're not. You know, everybody has their thoughts and opinions, and they could be raised the wrong way. They could be raised the right way. Their values, who they are. You know, they could get all this money, and they could be a bad person, and you know, really start tearing people's lives up. You know what I mean? Or doing terrible things. I mean, we've seen constant examples like that. John Copenhaver, for one, War Machine. What he did was terrible. He deserves to be where he's at, sitting in prison forever. But like, you know, he gets a little taste of fame, and then all this stuff, this true nature of who he is starts to come out. And it's unfortunate. It's terrible. It's terrible, terrible things he did. But that success, man, it's going to be, it's almost like the movie The Mask, when Jim Carrey puts it on his face and he says, it makes whoever you want to be inside really who you are. So in the movie, the bad guy, Dorian, he puts the mask on and he becomes like a monster, like a villain. That's because that's who he is inside. You know what I mean? That mask is the same thing as that money. You grab a handful of that money and put it on your face, it's the same thing as that mask. And we all see it right now with Connor. He can't go to camp because he can't pass any of the USDA stuff. And the fans know why. The fans that know what's up know why. You know what I mean? And we're not going to make an excuse for him, and Dana's not either. Because he's already made Dana probably $1 billion off that dude's name, or more. I mean, Connor was literally negotiating percentages of the company for his fight pay structure. And Dana was taking the meetings. Think about that. Dana White, listen, Dana White wouldn't piss on your back if your ankles were on fire, dude, okay? But he was thinking about giving Connor a percentage of the company, like whatever 0.0068% of the company every time per fight for like 8-fight deal. So like the total amount would be like, he would end up getting like, I think it was a total like 4.6% of the company after these 8 fights. Think about that. You want to talk about recurring revenue stream? You own 4% of the UFC. It's a $300 billion company, or no, it's a $3 or $4 billion company. Excuse me, not 300. But they just sold it to TKO, the sports marketing group that owns WWE. Think about if you own 4% of that. Don't think, oh, 4%, that ain't nothing. 4% of billions of dollars, guess what? That's a whole lot of something. That's a whole lot of Chicky McNuggies, okay? A bunch, a big bunch. Good God. But he was that hot because he was hungry the whole time. That's what got him there. Not laying around in spa trips and getting his hair and nails done and kicking around in these Versace shirts and stuff that looks like a bare bones rag. You know what I mean? It looks like a bar towel that you'd wipe your table up with. And he got it at some boutique in LA, and it probably cost him $5,400 for a t-shirt that looks like I've been panning up transmission fluid with the garage. You know what I mean? That's what these rich people do. I don't get it. But once you get that portion in your life where you're so enamored with the money and everything, and it's not about the training every day, and it's not about the work. Once anything like that happens and it doesn't become about the work, then that's it. And you better hope and pray that your natural ability, and you're going to dance with the date that you brought, whatever you brought to that, because they always say, you know, whatever you are in the gym, in the cage when you're training, you're about 70% of that when you're actually fighting. You know what I mean? Because you get in there, the bright lights, the crowd, whatever. And I'm talking about a regional show. I mean, I fought in front of 8,000 people at Rupp Arena and was lucky and enjoyed it and loved it. I was supposed to fight Ken Shamrock. He got hurt in a training accident. That's not the point. What I'm saying is there's so much stuff, there's so many variables that go into this that could possibly take you down or make you do this or make you do that or not perform or whatever. But I'm saying, if you don't put that work in and you don't have that foundational, those building blocks, that core of skill level that goes, you know, because, well, what Mike Tyson say? All these jiu-jitsu guys got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That's right. He's 100% right. Everybody's got a plan until they get busted in that snot box by a lunchbox, and then they go, and then everybody seems to forget shit then, or stuff, excuse me. But it's just, it's too commonplace. We see it all the time. And then people wonder why athletes they're like, well, dang, what's up with so-and-so, or what's up with so-and-so? You know what's up with him. You know what's up with her. You know what I mean? They get money, and then their priorities change. That's just how money works. Very, very few times in life will you see somebody get a lot of money and their priorities not change. Randy Couture was a champion in 2 weight divisions 5 times. When I was training Extreme Couture every day, I looked at this man, I said, God, if I can emulate my life after somebody, I would try to be him. You know what I mean? Because I thought he was the best you could be. He won two belts in 2 divisions, heavyweight and 205. I said, you know what I mean? I was young and stupid enough then to believe that I could do that. But that's what I worked for every day because I was hungry. Bro, if he told me to sleep behind the dumpster out back of the gym, I would have. If he'd have told me to sleep back there, you know what I said? How long you want me to stay? That's what I was said. Because I was so driven because I didn't have anything because I wanted to get somewhere. You know what I mean? I wanted to make it. I mean, do you know how many times I duct taped a line in that apartment and I sat there with my hands up and I threw a jab and walked that line? Just a jab to make sure my feet were correct. I don't even want to tell you how many millions, probably millions of times on just a jab, on just creating and separating and gaining distance to make sure my feet were correct to cut an angle. I can't even watch a UFC event anymore and enjoy the fight. I'm constantly looking at somebody's footwork or looking where their hand placement is or anything like that. Or you know what I mean? Or like, let's say somebody throws an overhand right or a baseball 2 or whatever comes off the hook. I'm like, well, why didn't he roll? Why is he doing this? I'm like, oh, okay, he's setting this up, blah, blah. I'm like, I can't even watch it anymore and be like, oh, you know, like I'm watching a fight. I am constantly working and thinking in my mind, like looking at footwork and everything like that. And it goes the same with the wrestling industry too. If you're not on point, you're going to hurt somebody or you're going to hurt yourself. And you know what? And you know what happens then? You mess the church's money up. And you know what happens then? We'll holler at you. Because you don't ever mess that ticket up. Never, never, never. Don't ever ruin the chicken. Because you kicked out the barbecue then, okay? You got to be on point with all of that stuff in any physical line of work. You have to. And when that money comes, if you're not disciplined, then you're going to fall off. Period. There is no way around it. We've all seen it, and we all know perfect examples of it. Anyway, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in for my first live. Thank you all so much. I'll be taking on content. Today, I know I was speaking about Toni Storm in the wrestling industry, but it could be anything, man. The whole purpose and the whole channel is Bros with Beers. It's anything that I like, any type of video that I would look at and say, man, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Or I would nudge my old lady and be like, hey, babe, look at this. Check this out. You know what I mean? Anything like that to get you talking, get you feeling a certain way. Politics, news, sports, anything like that. SEC football, whatever the case. I mean, we cover a myriad of topics here. We're always going to be respectful. We're always going to be respectful of other people's views. We're always going to be in compliance with YouTube guidelines. That goes without saying. But I do appreciate y'all tuning in. Once I get this YouTube thing, because I just became monetized or whatever, but I didn't realize how it all worked. Once I familiarize myself with it, I'll be going live on like a set schedule. That way, if you guys want to tune in, you're more than welcome to. But that way, you know when it actually is happening once I get scheduled down and stuff. But and if you guys had anything that you want me to cover, you know what I mean, let me know. Put it in the comments. You know, comment on a video or something like that. I try to look at every comment. You know what I mean? I got 20 million views right now, and I got a video with, I think, over 1 million comments. Like, I'm not even joking. I've tried to read every one of them. Like, my wife might hit me over the head with a fire hydrant tomorrow if I don't do something besides read some comments on YouTube. But if you've got anything at all, man, that you want me to cover, let me know. If you've got questions about the MMA game, wrestling, anything like that, and please take this straight out of the horse's mouth. I am no professional I was a professional fighter, but I am no longer, and I am not an expert in anything. So this is just my opinion. And this is, you know, in no way, shape, or form me telling anybody to go out and do any of these things. This is educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm not advocating for anything that I may say or do. I'm just relating through my experience in a shared environment, and that's it. But if you have anything that you would like me to do or cover, please put it in the comments. Absolutely. I would love to have your feedback. And yeah, I'm looking forward to helping the channel grow. If you don't mind, subscribe to the page. Just watch a video, man. If you like it, share it. If you don't, toss it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be one of those dudes that begs for all this and all that. Like, the proof is in the pudding. If you like it, man, share it. I'd really appreciate it. My whole goal for the channel was to be able to make enough money one day to stay home and homeschool my daughter. And that was it. You know what I mean? So that's the goal we're going to continue to work towards. If anybody needs any training advice or anything like that, you're going on a trip or you want to know where any good gyms are, let me know where you're going. If you're going to South Carolina to Myrtle Beach or here or there, you want to pay a drop fee and go in and roll at a gym, let me know where you're going. You know what I mean? If I know anybody down there, I'll make a call, blah, blah, blah. Please don't ask me for UFC tickets or anything like that. I can't get them. Just because I was a cornerman twice and I know some fighters, I can't get you tickets. Just like I can't get me tickets. But yeah, I would love to hear y'all's feedback, anything like that. Even the haters too. Because boy, listen, I ain't even been live yet and I got some haters on here already. God. Dave Chappelle, if you got hate in your heart, let it out. That's what y'all hating on me bad. I'm like, damn, I ain't nobody. I'm a 40-year-old turd from Kentucky. And y'all hating on me like I'm really something. Oh, Dusty Boot. I can't stand that boy. Jeez almighty. I don't understand that. Hating hard in their mama's basement. Ain't got no type of nary own place of residence. You know what I mean? No type of refrigerators to put no milks in. No microwaves to heat up no hungry man dinners. You know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? With the love comes the hate, so I get it. But anyway, man, thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I don't even know if this will get one view. I don't even know if this will get one view. Because it's 12:30 now and I scheduled it to be broadcast at 1. So anyway, man, as always, I appreciate it. Don't ever think that I don't. All these content creators on YouTube and stuff, man, they don't say it enough. I think it still rings true and I think it means a lot when a man looks you in the face, shakes your hand and says, hey, man, I appreciate you. So listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I really do. Because my opinion ain't better than nobody else's. I'm just one guy on here talking, you know what I mean? But anyway, man, be kind to one another. Always lift your brother up, man. Be good. And thank you for tuning in to Bros with Beers. Until next time, we'll holler at y'all.